Good evening, my dear friends. Thank you all for joining Revamp's UGC Net Pepper 2 social work. Today we have Rajesh Chandra Kumar, who's a research scholar at Department of Sociology, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Uh, though he is doing a PhD in sociology, but his JRF, UGC Net JRF is in social work, as he completed his master's in social work from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Now we have Rajesh with him. I request the participants to unmute and ask questions meanwhile when the session is happening. I request all those who are watching in YouTube can also comment or live chat your questions. Over to you, Rajesh. Thank you for joining us with a short notice. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raya, and thanks to the organizing committee, Revamp also, for giving me an opportunity to present my strategy for the UGC NET aspirants, those who are preparing for the UGC NET JRF in social work. So, as Ilaya mentioned that currently I am doing my PhD in sociology, but I have cleared my UGC NET JRF in social work in the year of 2019. So, I'll be sharing with you all regarding my experience and some strategy how to crack UGC NET JRF in social work. I will not be going in depth to the syllabus. I am hoping that you might have gone through the syllabus, and at the time we have less time. I think 13 maybe la social work examination is going to happen, the UGC NET exam. So and also like we don't have much time to go one by one in social work methods and other aspects of the subject. So I'll be engaging you all with some of the strategy which will be helpful for you before the examination and also within the or during the examination. So first of all, I want to tell you that the discipline of social work is something uh, where we engage with the people directly in the field or the grassroots level. So as you all might have known that social work methods have five methods or six methods actually. There is another method that we can also include or exclude also. So the two kind of methods, that is the primary methods and another is the secondary method. So in primary methods, we get social casework, social group work, then community organizations. So these three are the primary methods of social work. Then the other, that is the social research, then social action, and then social welfare administration. And these three are secondary. So basically, if we take these first three methods, that is social casework, group work, and community organization. So these are the main primary methods of social work. So regarding the strategy, so I hope you all have covered the syllabus and you all have gone through the depth of the syllabus actually. So there is two dynamics to social work net exam. So the one is for those who have been working or preparing for this JRF since 6 months, or maybe they have been giving this exam six like more than one attempt. So they have given the exam, but somehow they are not clearing the JRF, but they are clearing net. So the one aspect is this was the one aspect. Then the another aspect is for those people, uh, they might be the first attempt aspirants, or they have given just one or two exam in this of UGC net exam. Okay, so for them there are people they think that that should be a strategy method or that should be some smart work, and I don't have much time to look after that or all those syllables. So how could I prepare within that short span of time? And even we, as you know, also we are also doing this session on the date of 6th. So we don't have much time actually. So what should we focus in terms of strategy or within a less time? So going ahead with this, first I'll request to all of you that smart work is a better idea that should people do. But in social work paper, what happens? Uh, there is two sections to social work paper. The one sections paper will be very direct question, so where you will be, like, it will be easy for all of you to answer that questions. But there will be another sections, so we can like divide. I think there is 100 papers for paper two, or that is social work paper, and 50 marks for the paper one paper. So within this social work paper, what happens that maybe like in the first 50 questions, or maybe like in some year question, the last 50 questions will be easy, and then other 50 questions will be depth to the syllabus actually. So this will only be easy for them who have already gone through the depth of syllabus actually, and the other 50 questions that could be done by like through the smart work or through kind of strategy way also. And the another strategy I can say that there is a concept of common sense here also. uh, Social work is not different or not a difficult subject. Those who have read, or those who have done their master course here, or those who have been doing this course, so this is not a difficult course, like as in casework, or in even in group work, or even in community organizations. These are very basic courses or basic methods of social work. Uh, if you have spent some 1 to 2, 3 days or 4 days, even for a week, you will be easily understand the whole methods, like at least the three primary methods of social work. So it is not that much difficult. The one difficult aspects of social work is the concept, and who has given which concept, and which perspective have given by whom, or even like which book of social work has written by who has written which book, in which year, and the concept, which concept has given by whom, and in which year actually. Then another aspects of this social work course is it is meant to be like you have to be aware about all the situation, all the kind of issues and problems in the society, which happens in the society, which happens with the community people, which happens with the individual people, or even the victim, or kind of those people who are depressed actually, and who are struggle to cope up with their regular environment. So these are some of the aspects actually. So by saying that it mean for the society people, and when as a social worker you will be dealing with all these people actually in your organizational setting, or in as a social worker also. So what comes within this commonsensical strategy? The first important part of this commonsensical strategy that will come, the government approach towards the community people. So what government introduced, the different schemes, the different programs, and even the different act or different law they come up with, or the parliament come up with. So when it becomes law, so it became the like it becomes the responsibility of all the social worker to go through all these law and understand the law. For example, uh, if you are working with a person of for example victims of any kind of mental health, or even atrocity cases, or even any crime happens to him, so in that case, like you have to be like you have to aware about some of the laws, or some of the facilities, or some of the schemes which government is providing for that kind of people. So what are those laws, and what are those schemes, or even like if you want to help that person in the legal matter, then what are the legal act which pertains to that people, which will helpful for that person actually. So you have to be aware about all these things actually. Like, it's kind of a current affairs also, or we can say that the current consciousness which is happening in our society or from the government. So then moving further, uh, yeah. So I have made some strategical or smart notes through a chapter through a table wise. So after some time I'll show that to you. Then the another thing that is yeah, like a lot of people talk about this previous year questions. Even I also support that like a view. So I will request that you also to be familiar with the previous year questions, and then another set of people, they will suggest you to go through the mock test actually, or MCQ questions, like which is not prepared from that previous year question, but which is made by people who thinks like these are some of the important questions which might come in the exam. So I will not favor, I will not suggest that people should go through the MCQ, like mock test. Rather, I will suggest that you should be only depend upon the previous year questions actually. And there are a lot of questions available on the online from the, I think earlier there like the CBSE was conducting this UGC net. Then maybe like 2020 onwards, like they came up with the anti organization organizes those uh, test actually. So you can just go through this NTA questions as also, and at the same time you can also go through the CBSE questions which was happening earlier. So this is one of the best strategy. Then the within that question, what you have to do, you have to go one by one, and you know that there are four options to one question. So you have to uh, find the answers of one options, then another option, then third one, and then fourth one. You have to know what is the meaning of that one options. So basically, you don't have to just go through that. Okay, this question answer is this one, and I will just limit myself to this point. No, you also have to look after the uh, meaning or the concept and the affiliation of that options to any topic or any concept. And from that also, you can go through the topic wise. If you don't have time, then you can just directly go towards the questions, and from that you can go to the topic wise. That is the one strategy. I'll go through I'll go through question by question. I'll show you the question. uh, yeah. So let me share my screen so I can share with you some of my strategic notes. Yeah. Eli, is it visible?
Yes, Rajesh. Yes.
I hope it is visible. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So these are some of those smart notes which I did in my during my preparation actually. So this is the one aspects of preparing your notes. So lot of people, what happens that lot of people study uh, syllabus wise, and they do in-depth study, but what became problem, because they don't prepare notes, or though they don't make notes, which became very problem during like at the last moment of their examination, because you cannot just go through all the syllabus within 1 hour, or you cannot revise all these things actually. So to revise, you have to be smart. You have to kind of like make separate notes. So for example, this one notes, that is the books and author. You may be aware that within this our net examination, you often get some questions which asks us about that. Like for example, this is the book of pattern of culture. This is one book. So who has written this book? So I have mentioned here Ruth Benedict. So you have to make like this a table. You can also mention the year here, but I don't think like this part come into the like within the question. But the basically the one aspects will be that you should mention all the book which have mentioned in all the previous year questions. And the other thing also you can add, that is an extra work for you. So that's not a problem. You can add that. Then side by you can mention who is the author of that book. Then you have to memorize all these things. So for example, one side you can say that okay, pattern of culture, the author is Ruth Benedict. Then community welfare organization principles and practice, the author is Arthur Dunham. Okay, then you have to invisible this. Then while reading this Ruth Benedict, which book he has written or she has written, then you can mention that okay, pattern of culture. So this way, one by one, you can just go through all these things, and you have to try to memorize all these things. So this is the one table which I have made here. So you can add up more into it. Okay, and I think I have mentioned all these books and authors only by saying the previous year question which have come into like within the examination. So this is the one strategy you can do, and it also helpful for you because like for example, you are going to the exam at 10 a.m. and you become free at 8 a.m. So at least you can have a look into this chat box or table actually. So this become very easy for you to memorize again. Then we have this another table. Uh, since like as I mentioned you about that different art, why this is more useful for you to know, and why this is very much crucial within your examination. So like this, you have to make a table. The first column will be act, then the year, and then if there is any recent amendment which happens, then you can mention here. And okay, and within that amendment also, you'll have to see ki, like what were the new things, or what are the new things which change in the next amendment, or in the new amendment, which you can mention within this section, that is any remarks. So the first, that is a workman's compensation act, and year wise you can just mention, or you can write down, or you can bring up the first act which is much as earlier. So for example 1923, and if there is any act which is which come before this year, that also you can bring in the first column. For example in 1800, or even like 1860, or even like 1900. So all these act you can bring up in the first one. So you mentioned here that for the act and the year, then the recent amendment which happens. So within this any remark section, you have to uh, you don't have to like work hard for this. You just like Google it, Workmen's Compensation Act. Then there will be lot of web page will come. So there you will get some basic features of this act, who is eligible within this act, and what features or what facilities has been given for that person within that act, that you can mention here in a short way actually. So within this social work paper, what happens that you often get some questions which will ask you within this act, and that is for those people, those who have gone through death level actually. So they have to go within the act actually. What this act is talking about, and what are the major features, and what are the major facilities, and this act is for whom. So that you have to mention within this section any remarks. So that will be easy for you that yeah, you became aware about certain features, certain facility, and then act also, and even the year also. Then there is this Provident Fund Act, then Trade Union Act, then Indian Forest Act, Child Marriage Restraint Act, Insurance Act, also Industrial Dispute Act. Here, one strategy I will let you know that, for example, you know that you are aware about this act, Industrial Disputes Act 1947. Okay, but you don't know in which year this act came in, Insurance Act. So there is an option, Insurance Act and this Industrial Disputes Act. There uh, some questions might be coming in certain way that arrange in a sequential order or in a chronological order. See which act came first and which act came later on, or even like descending order. So you have to mention the current one, then you have to move backward actually. So for example, if you don't know the Insurance Act here, and you know that Industrial Dispute Act, so how this table will helpful you? So this table will helpful you in this in a way that you have to memorize this act in a sequence way. For example, okay, Insurance Act came in 1938, then Industrial Dispute Act came in 1947. So, for example, if it is saying that you have to descend, you have to come in descending way, then you have to come back to before actually. Okay, in 1947, Industrial Dispute Act happened. So the Insurance Act might be before that. So it will be 1938. So this way it will helpful for you. So like this is Factories Act, then Minimum Wages Act. So even also in these two category, you will have to you have to memorize that. Okay, Factory Act came first, then within that Factory Act, Minimum Wages Act came. For example, 1948. Though it is same, but you can memorize this in that way. Yeah. Then another strategy we can say that suppose in 1948 itself, the three act came in. For example, Factory Act, Minimum Wages Act, then Census Act. So this way also you can like develop your memory that okay, in 1 year the three act came up. That is Factory Act, Minimum Wages Act, and then Census Act. Then there is also Mines Act and Employees Provident Fund Act 1952. So these two act came in the same time. Then there is this Special Marriage Act, Hindu Marriage Act, then Protection of Civil Rights Act. So all these you can prepare in a sequence way. Okay. So here I have not mentioned all these details here, but you can develop this table yourself, and you can mention the specific features and facilities within this act. So this is the one strategy which you can develop. Yeah. Then often you might have seen that the day day is also an important aspects of social work paper. So a lot of time some of the dates also come. So within that date, we can also find out like if any other day has also like had also come up in the previous year question. That also you can add up here. So I have put it here 1 2 3. It is to remember actually. So you have to kind of remember all these things. Like for example, World Leprosy Eradication Day. So in the like the another way to remember all these things will be like in the month of January, what are the major dates come up, which is very much important, whether it is in United States or sorry United Nations or in Indian context. So you have to remember that in the month of January, which are the major dates which come up. For example, in the January month, here I have mentioned only one day, that is World Leprosy Eradication Day. Then in 20 February, that is World Day of Social Justice. Then 8th of March, International Women's Day. Then World Consumer Day, 15 March. So here, like look here, that I think 5 day, 5 days coming up in the month of March. That is International Women's Day, World Consumer Day, then National Vaccination Day, World TB Day. Yeah. So you have to memorize in this like you have to remember this way, that in the month of March, the 4 days is coming up. That is International Women's Day. So, for example, suppose you don't know the date, and even in that option, you just get the month March, and there is one March, but but there is other kind of April or May, all these things. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. You just remember the March month. That okay, all these day comes in the only single month, but I don't remember the date. But that's okay. You just remember you just know that March is the month. Then you just click the only one option there. You don't have to look after other options actually. So by like that also you can reduce your time. You can save your time for other questions. So this is the one strategy which you can develop. Then yeah, I think like this is the another one. I think this is for paper one maybe. So this is Paramanas actually. So I'm not touching here. Yeah. So the another strategy or table you can make like this: terms, concept, and theories. So here you can give the concept and theories, and then terms. Why I have mentioned terms? Because often people like confused with, like by seeing the questions. So a lot of terms in a different way that will come, that is the coined or propounded concept by a proposed, then author, proponent, or even like statement then associated with, developed by, concept given by, associated with, then propagated by again, and then concept given by. So you don't have to be confused here. You just like have to um, look after some of the terms. What are the terms is being used within the questions, and how this different synonyms has been used while preparing that question. So the question will be the same, but the meaning, sorry, the synonyms will be changed, and that question seems to be different in your angle, but the answer will be the same in that context. So you can develop this three category or even the 40 category. If you know the year, then you can mention, but that is an extra thing actually. That is not required. Even also in the questions also, all these things doesn't come actually. Only the three category is very important. So there is like here I have mentioned this person in situation. So who coined this uh, concept or theory? So then you have to mention this Flores Folies. Then Talcott Parsons was associated with what? This is that is structure of social action. Then conjugal family, propounded concept by William G. Goody, client centered therapy, pattern of culture, phenomenological, psychoanalytical. So all these kind of theories and then concept you have to be uh, like you have to be known actually. So these kind of tables you can make up, and apart from this you can also come up with different ideas. Whatever you are studying or whatever you are reading in depthly, so in order to memorize or in order to kind of remember all those things, what like strategy you can build up, so that that you can come up with. But but be ensure that you have a smart notes or strategic notes which will be helpful for you in the last 2 days or one day, or even like before 1 hour of your examination. Because I have seen people, they went to the examination hall or like outside of the examination hall, they carry one book of long book actually, and like they give half an hour to only one methods or only one concept. So that took much of your time actually. So by making this strategy notes, this become a very easy for you, that within a short span of time uh, you can focus here actually. uh, yeah. So now I will be uh, going with some of the question. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is like the question paper. This paper is of I think 2021. Elia, how much time do I have?
Yeah, Rajesh, you can go ahead till you continue the session.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
There is no such limitation for you.
Okay. Okay, fine. So yeah, okay. So this is the actually the sample of question paper of social work. So here, for example, the second question: who questioned the status of social work as a profession in Baltimore Conference of Charities and Corrections held in 1950? So here you will get some concept here. So for example, if you are preparing for the previous year question, so here you have to see this concept that the Baltimore Conference of Charities and Corrections held in 1950. So you have to Google it that what happened in Baltimore Conference. Then Baltimore Conference you have to search 1915. Then there you will have to go in depth. What was this conference about? Who were the main people involved here? And what people said what actually. So for example, here you will get four options here. So you don't have to think that some people make mistake that they think that only one option will be correct and the other option will not be correct, but you have to be ensure that you have to go through each and every options of that question. For example, here that is Mary Rickmond. So you have to actually be knowing the concept or even like any kind of statement the Mary Rickmond has given, that you have to know. Then Abraham Flexner, then XK Kinduquas, then Ernest Greenwood. All these options you have to be clear. Then only like it will be easy for you to answer these questions, right? Then for example, here also the same thing will apply here also. This is also common to every like UGC net aspirants whoever have preparing their examination. So this is the one for formula which they can do, like by going like those who have not, like they don't have time and they have only like few months left, so they can just go through by question wise, from question to the concept and to the option, and then from option to the theme or even to the syllabus actually. So like this they can go ahead. So I'm just like going just in a rough way, okay. uh, yeah, then for example, here you see, like you see this. The fourth question is like an effort aimed at initiating suitable changes and reforms to improve socio-economic conditions and to better social climate is termed as. So you have to find out key all this sentence where it is coming, whether it is coming in social reform or social action or community organizations or community development. So as I mentioned earlier, that in social work there is five methods and then extra that is a sixth method also. So for example, the primary method includes uh, casework, group work, and then community organizations. And within that community organization, you will get this concept of community development also. Then social work action will come under as a secondary method. So if you have studied this in depth wise, this methods, then only you will be able to answer this statement. Then social reform will be the different one. So like if you have not studied in depth like by going to the syllabus, then you just need to go through this social action page, okay. And within that social action you have to study in detail, then come back to community organization, then study in detail, read in detail, then community development, and look after the concept. If there is any author who has given any major concept within this theme, that you have to note down, that you have to kind of remember that thing actually. So this way you can do that. Then yeah, this thing also same thing apply here. uh, what do you mean by differential association theory? And sometimes what happens that even this happens to me also. Since like I had not gone depth to the syllabus earlier, so even like I became confused with this word. Okay, what is this concept about? And for example, I only know about Emil Durkheim, or I only know about Sutherland, but I don't know about these two people, Mac Ivor or Max Weber. So what to do in that situation? In that situation, what you can do? Uh, for example, you have heard the name of Emil Durkheim. Then I think you don't have to be confused. Go with Emil Durkheim. Whether it is right or wrong, that doesn't matter because you don't know other answers. So you just anyhow you have to go with this option of Emil Durkheim here. But the right answer is Sutherland, right? So if you have heard the name of Sutherland, or if you have studied Sutherland, or even if you have gone through this differential association theory, then only it becomes very easy for you to identify the Sutherland, right? Then here also the concept of I and me with respect to development of self was used by whom? So people might confuse like themselves like Sigmund Freud and G.S. Mill. These two people have given this concept, but the right answer here is G.S. Mill. So you have to be clear in your mindset that you have to be prepared in a well conceptual clarity way actually. Who has given which one? And don't be confused looking towards the question, or kind of don't be in a hurry actually. So be kind of mindfulness. Okay, don't think anything. You just have to focus on the questions, and from that question you look after each options, every options actually, and then you select your questions, sorry, select your answer. And the another things I will say here, that there is an option actually, earlier it was there actually in during my time. So the answer is the strategy that there is four option. I think the one is like you have attempted that question, or you have seen that question. Uh, where is it? Okay, like you have visited that question, then not visited, then mark for review, or even attended. I think if I'm not wrong, then these were there, or even I think this might be here, like this time also. So visited, it means like that you have visited those questions. So now the pattern of examination which happens like 1 hour, not 1 hour, 3 hours. So the two paper, that is the paper one and the paper two, it is combinedly of 3 hours. So before going to the exam, for example, you have like 2 days gap to your examination. Then before that, you have to make sure that you have 3 hours to do paper one and paper two. So where you are strong. For example, if you are strong in paper one, then it is up to you to begin with paper one or paper two. So that you have to be clear. So don't go to the exam hall and think in that time that okay, what I have to do and how do I plan here. So don't do that thing within the examination hall. Make sure all this plan happens beforehand actually. So I'll suggest that go through that method of easy, medium, and then hard method. So first, like don't pause, start reading the paper from starting question 1 to till 150 150 numbers of questions. So starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can go this way, and whenever you find that this is easy and you are 100% correct, just take that, and don't think much actually, and don't do this thing that okay, first I'll read the question and again I'll come back and take that question. Don't do that actually. First read the question and suddenly click that answer whichever is correct for you. Then if you are little bit confused, then do mark that and mark it for review, and try to visit all the questions, 150th question in the first time actually. First, in one hand, you can go from 1 to 150th of questions directly. You can go through that, and if you find that it's okay to first finish the paper one and then move towards the paper two, that's also up to you. Whichever way you feel comfortable, that we can do. That's not a problem. You can also do this part paper one for paper two first, and then you move towards the paper one. And the marking way, those who are aspiring, like those who are preparing for the JRF, so they can do one thing that uh, for the JRF, if they need more marks, okay, in paper two. In paper one, what happens? Those who are not preparing for any kind of civil service or even any kind of competitive exam, so that become very difficult for them to like get more marks in paper one. So that becomes a new subject for them. So that's not a problem. You just try to be kind of a qualifying marks, or even like 50%, like some marks which will give an extra advantage to your paper two. But do focus more on your paper two. Paper two will give you more marks or more advantage in your JRF selection actually. So this is the one way you can do that. Yeah, so all this question, like you can do that in that way that, okay, so here like there is a power, leadership, authority and status. So where this concept is coming, in which like in which chapter all these concepts will come. So you can just move towards that chapter and then look after all these things. Okay, power means what, then leadership means what, and what does it signify. All these things you can look into that in that way. So, and then okay, and then I think you will get maybe like 15 questions of paragraph, passage writing, passage answering. So I think passage sometimes it comes very easy. Five questions will be easy, and then another five question will be very difficult. So there are different methods to paragraph. So one method will be like that. You just have to look after the main argument within that paragraph. So sometimes what happens, the main argument will be in the starting sentence of that passage, or in some passage, the main argument or the main point of that paragraph will be at the end. Maybe like in the middle there will be that will be, but mostly like in the first sentence or in the last sentence the main idea will be there. And then if the kind of main argument will be in the first sentence, then you will get some of the examples of that first argument below that. So you just understand, okay, if a question is saying that what are the futures of this first sentence, and what are the major arguments which supports to the first sentence, then you will easily move towards the middle sentence. So your strategy will be like that. Okay, first you read the first passage first, consciously or mindfulnessly, then you move to the question, and then if you like understand the question and you find the answer, then click that directly. Don't go again to the passage. And somewhere if you become confused or you don't get the answer, then after reviewing the question, you can go back to the passage again, and then you have to mention that you have to be ensured that this time you will not have to go again like third attempt. And sometimes what happens, like though passage is very much important and people get easy marks, but it becomes confused that they often kind of make mistakes of four question or five question at a time. They don't get any kind of right answer from that also. So this also happens. So that's not a problem. You can just practice beforehand. So that will help you. Uh, yes, okay. And then, yeah, and then like regarding all these books and authors. uh, if you are following some of the books like main classical books of social work or social work practice, you will be getting that books also. So within that you will get some of the reference list also. Even like if some people are following the IGNO text also, there also you get some reference list at the end of that chapter, or that social of methods chapters are the end of that actually. So within that reference list also you will get some authors with the books. So from that also you can pick up some of the books and authors, and you can make a table for that. So from by that way also you can do that. So this way you can do that. So I think I have covered all the aspects here. And then yeah, so at the last attempt, what you will do on the last stage of your examination, uh, time goes kind of suddenly. You don't know, or you will be thinking that, okay, I have time and I can do this later on. And sometime it will happen that you might forget that uh, question which you have not attempted, or which you have, I think, marked for review. I think mark for review will be calculated on the basis of what you have already clicked. So that's not a worry point, but you can just review actually. And as I mentioned earlier, that you have to be kind of time management beforehand, before going to the exam hall, that this much time you will give to this and this much time to other questions. So that way you will also have time, 10 minutes time or 15 minutes time at the end, so that you can review all the questions. And suppose, for example, if you don't have time, then don't go to that question and try to understand which one is right and which one you should click. You have to keep some time, for example 5 or 10 minutes, okay? So within that 10 minutes or 5 minutes, you just have to click just one way. Okay, like here there is a 12 number. Okay, earlier you didn't attempt this question and you were also confused regarding this question which to answer. Then suppose, for example, you don't have time or 1 minute less, then you can suggest, okay, the following times are becoming here. Okay, okay, here just like have a glance of this or glimpse of this, and just click one, and don't think that this is be right or this will be wrong, because you don't have time. Okay, but you have to attempt whole questions, so that you have to answer actually. Okay, I think I should end here, and if any questions you have, then we can discuss actually. Thanks so much, and thanks Ilaya for giving this opportunity to present here.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh, for your talk, which support the students, those who are preparing for UGC JRF, to crack JRF in social work. You have elaborated through the notes which you have taken in the notes from all Meto got the information. So I request the participants, if any of you have any doubt, then you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Or if not, then we can wind up the session. So I'm able to see Anthony Xavier's, Junabag, and Professor and Tankapani. Any of you have any questions, or can we wind up? You can type in the chat box as well. Yeah, I think there is no question from their side. So I have a question to you, Rajesh. That so most of the time people crack net, but not JRF. So what has to be done to crack JRF? Because it's a little far, right? There is no much distance between using net and JRF. So what has to be done?
Yeah, I think that I missed actually. Actually, that is a good point from you, and lot of people face that problem actually. And I will say that there is nothing much problem with the UGC net people, and there is no problem with their preparation also, I'll say. And nothing much they have to do. What happens in my case, I'll share my experience. that I clear my JRF in my maybe like third or fourth attempt, maybe like I don't remember that. But what I was doing wrong, that I prepare well, and for example, the passage I will say that in passage uh, like 2 3 marks or 2 3 questions were getting wrong, and that was the big that is the main cause behind my not clearing JRF and only net, and this happens to many people actually. So I'll suggest that uh, be conscious while like choosing the answer. Sometimes what happens that we know that some option is the correct for one question, but when we click or when we kind of choose that option, then we click the different one, and it happens, it is because of our lack of conscious or lack of our mindfulness, that I will say from my experience actually. And there might be some easy questions, but what happened that we became nervous at the last moment, or we became kind of hurriedly way that okay, I have to finish within these 3 hours, or I don't have much time. So that becomes an issue. Then the another thing is that the time management. We we don't able to kind of make it better time management beforehand actually. So, for example, we think too much only on one question or two questions. We think that okay, this question is coming, this answer is coming. I know this answer. Okay, this could be the right answer. And while thinking, we spend too much time on that question. But my suggestion will be that don't spend too much time only one question, because if you have 5 questions which you can answer in a correct way, why to spend your that much time in a single question? Okay, fine. For example, if you lose your 2 marks from one question, but in another side, from the 5 question, you will get the 10 marks. So that you have to strategically plan for our time management actually. So that is the one aspect which the from UGC net to JRF they can do that kind of strategy they can act that actually. And and then other thing is that yeah, a lot of people like we that I will say actually they don't have time. So at the end they anyhow they have to click one, okay, one, two, three, and three and four, like this the way this happens actually. And yeah, and the last thing, I'm not saying that this is not the fault of syllabus, but I'll say that people have to be go into depth actually. And because as long as you will not go into depth of the syllabus, you will not understand some of the region and statement. For example, there is some region sorry statement, there is some statement that will come two times, okay, like for example a and both a and b are correct, and b is the correct explanation of a. This kind of questions also come, and all these are the theoretical question, all these are the depth question of the syllabus. And this can only be like done by the people who have gone through the syllabus in a depth way actually. So for JRF people, you have to go in depth of syllabus actually, and there is no any other options. Like for only for clearing net, you can just do the smart work or a strategy way. You can clear the net. That's not a kind of top job actually. But for JRF, you have to work hard. You have to go depth of the syllabus. Yeah, and also yeah, and for example, there is a principles of group work or principles of case work. You don't have to just stick with only one reference book. You have to go through the multiple reference book for clearing JRF, because principles often in one book there will be only one person's principle, but in another book there will be another person's principle. So you have to be aware of different references, and you have to be kind of uh, this is not something like that. You have to be kind of aware of some known personalities or known people who has written the book of like on social work or social group work, but you also have to be aware about some unknown people, This might also come within the kind of question. Then the other thing, uh, yeah, I think this is enough actually. And the other things you have to regularly uh, do your kind of practice again and again. You have to revise again and again. And then another thing like that, lot of people give too much time preparing in paper two, and they don't give time in paper one. Whereas paper one is also very much important to get mark, which will push your mark in your paper two. So paper two also you have to think. You have to think of data analysis. You have to think of basic general awareness. You have to think of kind of some statistics. All these things you have reasoning also you have to think of. So paper one also you have to be equally given an importance actually. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Rajesh. So there is a question in the chat box, and there is a thanks message also. They thank you for introducing a trick or strategy to remember the name, author, and books published. So there is a question that it is about mean, mode, median. Can you please share your views on that?
I think this is coming from this central tendency. Okay, so I'll not explain here, but I'll say you that you just go through this central centers that is that statistics actually the mean basic format that is the average of mean. Okay, mode is like how many, and median is in between. And that is the extra step towards the median. So which will be difficult here to explain here, but I'll suggest this is not much very difficult. You can just go through the statistics. There will get mean, median, and mode. You can also search on online, so you will be better understand about this. Uh, yeah, so I think there is one question. I think I'll not be able to show you within that question which I was showing earlier. There is range. Range is the measure of dispersion or the mean. For example, there are people, 10 people are there. So what is the mean of this? So you just have to kind of divide that by that number actually. Okay. So mean, it means like the middle person, the average of mean. So I think you can go through that topic and you'll get to that answer from that also. Yes, Eli.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rajesh, and thank you all the participants for joining with us and those who are watching in the YouTube as well. We'll meet you again with the different session with a different resource person. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you so much to all.
Yeah, once again, I wish you all the best for cracking your UGC net. Prepare well. Take care of your health. Thank you.